All right. So Omar Young is the running backs coach, and he's got a good group to work with. And your thoughts about his post,
His post or his credentials?
his credentials? Sure.
I don't know anything about. I mean, look, I've done as deep of a dive as I can do without being able to talk to the staff and being able to talk to him. He's got a pretty pedestrian uh, resume, if you ask me. All right, I'll just say that right now. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I know a lot of people want to celebrate whenever a new coach gets hired. Like when Abdul Hodge came back, oh, he's a great Hawkeye, and he never coached tight ends. I was a little bit speculative on it, right? Omar Young, and I would credit SB Nation on this because I know a lot of beat writers don't probably take the time to, not that they need to, they run through a resume and that's what they do. But I do appreciate SB Nation for running through sort of the ins and outs of what he did at each stop, because I think that was the question when Iowa released a statement on Omar Young's hiring. I'm like, okay, is he coached running backs? Why is he jumping around so much? Well, here's the reality. And again, credit to SB Nation for kind of disseminating some of this information, make it a little easier for people to grab. Last year, Young was on the Patriots staff. That team went 4-13. Okay. Uh, is it Gerard or Jared Mayo? I don't even know his first name.
Rod.
Gerard Mayo got fired after 4-13. And I guess Omar Young was gone with him. I know he coached, was it the Senior Bowl earlier this year? Or was it the Senior Bowl or was it the man, now I'm drawing a blank. It was it was the Senior Bowl. What am I thinking? I was thinking there was a different game. He coached the Senior Bowl. He coached running backs at the Senior Bowl. But prior to him coaching running backs for the Patriots, he was an assistant QB slash receivers coach. So he was a passing game guy, assistant passing game guy with the Bears. And he did spend time in the college ranks. He was running backs coach for Eastern Illinois during a stretch where they went 3-26 and their head coach was fired. He was a running backs quality control analyst for the Packers, and he was a running back analyst for South Carolina and a running backs offensive assistant for the Browns in 2015. So, and he also coached for the Colorado back, I think 2013, 2014. He was a defense and special teams quality control guy. Yeah. So, I'm just saying that's not some grandiose resume, Mark, but I'm not going to sit here and denounce the hire like 5 days in. I haven't even talked to the guy. I really don't know much more about other than the black and white, where he's been, what he's done. It just seems like a pretty big jump. But with that being said, maybe he's gotten a flying. Again, I don't know if this is a stronger connection to Kirk. There's a couple NFL teams where he's been on staff that Kirk has strong connections to. The Patriots being one, of course, although Belichick's no longer there, and the other being the Browns, and of course, Ferentz coached there a long time ago. Tim Lester obviously was with the Packers. It was he was there well after Omar Young was in Green Bay. And I'm sure there's lots of Iowa, Chicago Bears connections. So I see the comment here in the chat. It's a lazy, typical Kirk hire. I don't necessarily agree with that because it's too early. It's too early to say. Obviously, somebody endorsed this guy, or I don't know. I mean, had you ever heard the name Omar Young, Mark?
It sounds familiar. Have you looked into his playing days?
I can't find his playing days.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe
I can't even find a Wikipedia page for the guy.
All right. Well, then
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying he was. Maybe he was a really good player. What does it say? If you keep scrolling
just about
down,
everybody's got a Wikipedia page these days. I'm surprised you don't have one.
Well, I was going to say, don't you have one? And if you don't, why haven't we started one? Voice of College Football at Wikipedia, or Wikipedia at the Voice of College Football. So I don't know. I mean, hey, the great news is we're probably going to get. I'm assuming they're going to make him available during spring ball, and a lot of these questions can be had. But I don't believe anybody's gotten access to Omar Young for an interview yet. But I would assume this is a bump up for him. Again, I don't even know if he officially the Patriot. I believe he was the Patriots running backs coach. No, I'm sorry. He was technically labeled as a coaching assistant from what I'm seeing with the Patriots. So I'm trying to recall when I looked at his resume, when the last time he actually was the running backs coach anywhere. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything that he got that title where he's been. I know he was running backs coach at Eastern Illinois a long time ago, but he wasn't even the running backs coach at the Patriots, and the staff got fired. So again, someone knows something I don't, because I don't know anything else. By the way, James and everybody in the yes, I see your comment about the. Everybody's talking about Iowa basketball. Darian DeVries apparently took the job at Indiana. There's been rumblings all day about that. So I believe you. Yes, it's a football show. I acknowledge what you're saying, but yes, it was announced just moments ago. So thank you for Darian DeVries is off the board if you're coming here to talk about Iowa basketball.
So in terms of Omar Young, of course, we're not just going to take the teams that he is associated with and look at their records and lack of success, because it's pretty abysmal, and tie that directly to him. He's one guy who's an analyst at a lot of these stops, a running backs coach, as you just mentioned, at Eastern Illinois. It is difficult to go 3-26. That doesn't happen very often. Goodness gracious.
3-26 at Eastern Illinois.
Yeah. The Browns were horrible in 2015. I think in 2016 they had the team that went 0-16 that year, so they were like 2-14 that year. South Carolina running back analyst. I didn't even know that there was such a thing. Running back analyst.
So am I making too much of the? I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm just acknowledging that I don't know. I've had people. What do you know about Omar Young? I know nothing about Omar Young. You say, well, reach out to your sources. I don't have any Omar Young sources. I'll just admit I have no Omar Young sources. I mean, I can ask people within the program, but they're not the ones who. This comes from the top down. This is a Kirk/Tim Lester decision. I doubt anybody else had any say in this. I would be shocked if there's some connection to another person on staff, because a guy with this level of resume or lack thereof, there's got to be something or someone behind the scenes that we don't know about. So I'm sure there would have been other people that have better resumes on paper than Omar Young.
Yeah.
And he's not an Iowa guy. I don't know that he's got any connections to Iowa. So, yeah, this one's surprising. I'd be curious to know who else they hired, or interviewed.
Kirk says that Omar Young has a track record of building deep relationships with his players at every level and guiding them to success on and off the field. I would love to see the rushing statistics from these running back groups.
Is that an implication that he's not had much success, Mark? Is that what you're implying? I mean, the teams haven't had much success. I don't know if you run the ball well, your team plays well. Typically.
All right.
Are we off that subject?
Have you posted a video?
No, I haven't posted a video yet. I don't know what to say. I'll talk. Listen, I'm going to post a video once I can get in touch with somebody who has something to say about Omar Young. But I'm not just going to go on a video and read the press release and his resume and be like, well, I don't know if the guy sucks or not. Like, I'm not going to do that. So once I hear something on Omar Young, once this week calms down, I'll post a video.